So good morning, students. Once again, welcome back to our Little Flower School online classes. So today we are going to start our chapter 2, physical quantities and measurement. In the previous video, we have done with the third chapter, force and pressure. Reason is very simple because that was something new for all of you. This is just a recap of the chapter you have done in class 7 already. From 6 also, you have learned what is physical quantity and measurement. Just like have a recap of two things because in our chapter directly we have started from the measurement of density. So let's have a recap. What do you mean by physical quantity? So those quantities which can be measured and give the physical properties of any substance by measurement are called physical quantities. So those quantities can be measured and give the physical properties of any substance by measurement. They are called physical quantities. So depending upon the classification, we have classified the physical quantities into two types. One is fundamental and one is derived. So those quantities which cannot be represented by using any other quantities or in terms of any other quantities, they are unique, their identity is unique, they are called what? Fundamental. Fundamental means only unique. So those physical quantities which cannot be represented in terms of other quantities, they are called what? Fundamental quantities. So basically we have 7 fundamental quantities: length, mass, time, temperature, current, uh, luminous intensity, and amount of distance. And later on, we have added two more: angle and solid angle. So these are the fundamental quantities cannot be represented in terms of any other quantity or by means of other quantities. So these are called what? Fundamental. And in class 6 and 7, we have already learned the means for measuring the length, mass, time, temperature. Okay. Now those quantities which are obtained by combining two or more than two fundamental quantities, they are called what? Derived quantities. They are called derived quantities. For example, velocity, pressure, force, etc. So these all quantities are called what? Derived. So those quantities which are obtained by combining two or more than two fundamental quantities, they are called what? Derived quantities. So this was for the classification of physical quantities. Let's move on fast to our next topic. The next one used in our chapter, that is measurement. So what is measurement? Measurement is basically the comparison of an unknown quantity with a known quantity. Measurement actually is measuring what we do. Like suppose if I ask you, go and purchase 1 kilogram of mango. And when you go to a fruit seller and you ask, give me 1 kilogram of mango, what do you observe? You observe that he used to take a balance. The balance used to have two pans suspended with the help of equal lengths of thread from the middle. Then you will observe he will keep a iron weight of 1 kilogram on one side of the pan and the mangoes on the other side. When both the pans will acquire the equilibrium, they will be at the same position on both the sides and the needle will be in the middle balancing position. Then he used to say that this many quantity is equal to 1 kilogram. So what he does? Actually, he has compared any unknown quantity with a known quantity. So this is called what? Measurement. Measurement is the comparison of an unknown quantity with a known quantity. So measurement used to have two parts. One is called magnitude or numerical value and one is unit. One is magnitude and one is unit. So what is magnitude and what is unit? Suppose if the mass of any object is 10 kilograms. So 10 is the magnitude here and kilogram is the unit. It means what is unit here? The standard quantity which is used for comparison, whose value does not change in time and place. And the magnitude, numerical value gives the idea of how many times the unknown quantity is present in this known quantity. It means the mass of any object 10 kilogram is, it is 10 times of 1 kilogram. Actually, we have defined only kilogram. So by measurement, we have compared and we say that 10 kilogram is the unknown quantity is present 10 times in the standard quantity, that is kilogram. So this is how we do the measurement. Similarly, we measure the length, use a scale, temperature, you use thermometer, and Kelvin or Celsius as a standard unit. So measurement is what? Comparison of an unknown quantity with a known quantity. So for measurement, we need two things. The basic requirement for measuring any quantity is it should have must be a measuring instrument, and then there must be a defined standard unit. There must be a defined standard unit. So now move on to our chapter. In our chapter directly we are starting from measurement of a derived quantity, that is called what? Density. So density is a derived quantity. Why? Because we have already discussed those quantities are obtained by combining two or more than two fundamental quantities. They are called what? Derived quantities. And density quantity. What do you mean by density? So basically density gives us the idea of how heavier or how lighter any object is. It means the lightness or heaviness of an object is computed in terms of its density. If we are knowing the density of any object, then immediately you can conclude whether that object is lighter or whether that object is heavier. And mathematically it is defined as the mass contained per unit volume. The density is defined as the mass contained per unit volume. So you can see more is the mass per unit volume, higher is the density. Lesser is the mass per unit volume, lesser is the density. So, and mass is the quantity of matter contained in a body, and volume is the space occupied by a body. So, if object is having a lot of mass in a very compact structure, in a very less space occupied, that should have very high density. The SI unit of density is kilogram per cubic meter. SI unit of density is kilogram per cubic meter, and CGS unit of density is gram per cubic meter. So the SI unit of density is, once again, density gives us the idea of lightness or heaviness of any object, and it is defined as the mass contained per unit volume. It means more is the mass per unit volume, higher is the density, and vice versa. The SI unit of density is kilogram per cubic meter, and the CGS unit of density is gram per cubic meter. So what does it mean? What kind of idea do we have from this? Suppose if density of any substance is given, any object, 10 grams per cubic meter. So the density of any object is 10 grams per cubic meter. Then what does it imply? What does this statement mean? It means if for every volume of 1 cubic meter of this object, its mass will be 10 grams. Its mass will be 10 grams. It means the same object you take of volume 2 cubic centimeter, it means its mass will be 20 grams. If you take the volume 3 cubic centimeter, its mass will be 30 grams, and so on. So this is what the meaning of density of any substance. Now relation between the SI unit and CGS unit. So 1 gram per cubic centimeter is equal to 1000 kilograms per cubic meter. This one you have to remember from numerical point of view, or for fill in the blanks, or true and false, or choose the correct answer, or any such type of questions which are asked for 1 mark. The relation between the SI unit and CGS unit of density. So 1 gram per cubic centimeter is equal to 1000 kilograms per cubic meter. This value you have to remember. Next one is measurement of density of irregular solid. So before discussing the method of measurement of this irregular solid, let us discuss what do you mean by irregular solid. So basically, depending upon the shape and size, we have classified the objects into two types. One is regular shape objects and one is irregular shape objects. So those objects whose length and breadth are defined, they are called what? Regular shape objects. So regular shape body. It can be a cone, it can be a cube like this. It can be like this, cone. Whose dimensions are well defined. You can say that the length is this much, breadth is this much, height is this much, the radius of the circular face is this much. Similarly, sphere, cuboid, these all are what? Regular shape bodies. So, for measuring the density of any regular shape body, it's very easy because density is mass upon volume. So, suppose if I have to measure the density of a regular shape cube, so what I will do? I will use a physical balance, I will measure its mass, put it here. I will take a measuring scale, I will measure the length, breadth and height, and I will use the formula. I will get the volume, put it here, and you will get the density of the provided object. So density of a regular shape body is very easy. You can easily measure the mass, you can easily measure the volume, and you can use the appropriate mathematical formula. So this is what regular shape body. These dimensions, length, breadth, and height are well defined. For that, for measuring the volume, we have defined formulas. But those objects whose length and breadth is not defined, we can't predict what is actually the length and what is actually the breadth. They are called what? Irregular shape bodies. For example, suppose if I provide you an irregular shape of piece of stone like this. Now what is the length? This is the length, or this is the length, or here you will take length. What you will take as the breadth? It is very difficult. It means we can't predict the exact length and breadth of any object. So these are called what? Irregular shape bodies. So how to measure the density of a irregular shape body? We have two types of methods. One is displacement method and one is Eureka can method. So we will go one by one. The first method that is given in your book in the form of activity 1 and 2. Method 1. So if I have to measure the density of any irregular shape body, I know that from the formula density is equal to mass upon volume. So I will use a physical balance or any balance and I will measure its mass. So let the mass of given object is m. Let the mass of the given object is m. Now I have to measure the volume. Now for measuring the volume, it is very difficult because the shape is not regular. I can't predict what type of shape it is. It is a cylindrical, it is spherical, or it is cube. So what I will do? I will use the method called displacement method for measuring the volume. In displacement method, we use a measuring cylinder. Measuring cylinder, you know, it is an instrument which is used to measure the volume of a liquid, in which a cylindrical shape object is there, on which from outside the degree of calibration is done like this. On the outer side, it is calibrated in terms of milliliters, say starting from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on, 10, 15, 20, and so on. So what you will do? First, you will fill this measuring cylinder partially with water up to a mark. Say we have filled up to 5 ml. Say we have filled it up to the level of 5 milliliters. Now we will note down that level. Initial level of water is equal to V1. So we have taken a measuring cylinder which is calibrated from the outer surface, and then we have partially filled it with water, and then we have noted down the level of water in this, and we say that it is V1. So here you can see it is 5 ml. Now you will take the piece of stone whose density we have to measure, which is in irregular shape. We will tie it with the help of a thread, and then we will suspend it inside. The moment you suspend this stone inside the water with the help of a thread, such that it does not touch the bottom, somewhere just submerged completely inside the water, you will observe that the water level starts increasing because the solid will displace the water and the water will move in upward direction, in the direction of the free surface. So it will go in upward direction and say it acquires the level of 10 ml. So let the final level of water when we have submerged that irregular shape object and it has displaced the liquid in upward direction is V2. Now we know that from Archimedes principle that when a solid is submerged in a liquid, it displaces the liquid. The volume of liquid displaced is equal to its own volume. The volume of liquid displaced by any object inserted or submerged inside the liquid is equal to its own volume. So volume of liquid displaced is equal to V2 minus V1. Final level minus initial level. And we also know that the volume of liquid displaced is equal to the volume of the solid submerged. So volume of solid will be equal to V2 minus V1. So this is called what? Displacement method. For measuring the volume of a regular shape body, we have used the measuring cylinder. We have first filled it partially with water up to a level and say it is V1. Then we have inserted the solid in this, water gets displaced in upward direction, and we have noted down the final level, say V2. So the volume of liquid displaced is V2 minus V1, and we know that the volume of liquid displaced is equal to the volume of the solid submerged. So volume of solid is V2 minus V1. So once you get the volume, you can use the formula density is equal to m upon V2 minus V1. So this is the first method. This is called what? Displacement method by using a measuring cylinder. Next one is Eureka cane method. Method 2, also known as Eureka cane method. Now this Eureka can, basically we first need to understand what is Eureka can. So Eureka can is also just like a measuring cylinder we have seen, but there is a little difference. In a Eureka can, it is also cylindrical in shape, say like this, but a spot is provided just below its top. A spot is provided, now opening is provided just below the top of this cane. Now what you will do? And here this cane is not calibrated, any marking is given on the outer surface. It is only having a spot near its top, below the top. Now, for using this Eureka can for finding the density of an irregular shape body, same method. First we will find the mass, we will measure the mass, say mass of given object is equal to m. We have used the balance and we have measured the mass can be measured easily. Now, what you will do, you will fill this Eureka can with water up to the neck of what? Spot one. Just a little water if you fill it over in this Eureka can, it will overflow through this neck. It will overflow through this spot provided. So just up to the neck we have poured water in this Eureka can. And just at the mouth of this spot you will place a measuring cylinder. You will place a measuring cylinder. Empty, very dry measuring cylinder. Now what you will do? We will take the irregular shape object, we will tie it with the help of a thread and then we will insert it. The moment you will insert it, it will displace the liquid will get displaced in upward direction, and the moment they will move in upward direction, they will start flowing through this spot and they will get collected in the measuring cylinder. So we will just dip this irregular shape object in this measuring cylinder till the water is overflowing. Once the water overflow gets stopped, then we will measure the amount of liquid collected in this measuring cylinder. Say it is VmL. Say it is VmL. The measuring cylinder is calibrated in milliliter. Say it is VmL. So this is the volume of liquid displaced after inserting this solid. And now we know that the volume of liquid displaced is equal to the volume of solid inserted. So volume of solid is equal to VmL, and we also know that 1 ml is equal to 1 cubic centimeter. 1 milliliter is equal to 1 cubic centimeter. So it can be written as D cubic centimeter. Now we have the mass, say in gram, we have the volume of the irregular shaped body in cubic centimeter. We use the formula D is equal to mass upon volume. So this is the method 2. It is using a Eureka can. Method is same in both the case the liquid is displayed. Only in the first case we have used the method called displacement method or change in label method. There we have measured the volume by measuring the change in the label of the water. First one without inserting the object, say V1, then after inserting the label becomes V2, so V2 minus V1. Here we have taken a Eureka can, it is also called overflow jar. We fill the water up to the neck of the spot, then we have placed the measuring cylinder at the mouth of this spot, then we have inserted the solid. As a result, the liquid gets displaced in upward direction, so the overflow of the water gets collected in this. Once the flowing of water gets stopped, we will measure the volume of water collected. Say it is V ml. Now we know that 1 ml is 1 cubic centimeter, so the volume of liquid is V centimeter cube. So solid will be V centimeter cube. So density is mass upon volume. We will use this formula and we can find out the density in gram per cubic centimeter, and if we have to convert in SI unit, we will multiply it by 1000. So this is the second method for measurement of density of irregular shaped solid. Now come to the next topic. Measurement of density of liquid. Now, for measuring the density of liquid, what we will do? Same method, formula will be same. Density is equal to mass contained per unit volume. Now, for measuring the density of any liquid, for measuring the mass, we will again use same, any type of a balance, physical balance, any type of physical balance. And for measuring the volume, we will use a measuring instrument in terms of like a measuring cylinder or a pipette or a burette. So many things are provided here. Now, we will see an activity. Measurement of density of a liquid. Now, as you know, liquid is also one of the state of matter, and it does not have defined shape. It does not have defined shape. It acquires the shape of the container in which it is present. So what we will do, we have a little different method for measuring its mass and for measuring the volume. So here we will use the measuring cylinder for measuring its volume as well as mass also with the help of a balance. For example, a liquid cannot be held, it has the nature of flowing. So what we will do, we will take an empty cylinder. We will take a empty measuring cylinder which is calibrated from the outer surface. Now the liquid whose density we have to measure, we will fill it in this measuring cylinder up to any mark. Say we have filled it up to here. And the marking is V. It represents the volume of the liquid is V ml. Now, sometimes you might have also observed that when you pour a liquid inside a measuring cylinder, its surface needs to have a curve. Either it is flat or it is having a curvature in downward direction or it is curved in upward direction. That is called what meniscus. The appearance of the surface of the liquid is called what meniscus. So, if it is flat, we don't have problem. The method is to position your eye horizontally with respect to the level of this liquid, and then we will take the reading. If it is flat, easily we can record the reading, take the reading. But suppose if the surface is curved like this, it is curved in downward direction. So what we have to do? We have to take this reading. The marking which is exactly in the line with the downward curved position of this meniscus. And if it is curved in upward direction like this, so this is the reading which we have to take. This will be the reading. In this condition, this will be the reading. So depending upon the curvature, if it is curved in downward direction, we will observe the bottom position of the curve. If it is curved in upward direction, then we will observe the upward position of the curve and we will take the reading, and that will be taken as the volume of the liquid present in this measuring cylinder. And this appearance is called what? The appearance of the liquid surface is called what? Meniscus. So suppose if it is flat, suppose if it is flat, the reading is VML. So volume of given liquid is V, ml means V cubic centimeter. Now we have to measure the mass. For measuring the mass, what we have to do? You will be a little bit tricky here. What we will do? We will take a measuring cylinder empty, well dry. Condition is what? We will take a cylinder which is empty and well dry from inside, and then we will measure its mass. We will measure the mass of this empty measuring cylinder. So mass of empty measuring cylinder is equal to, say, M1. We have taken a measuring cylinder which is well dry and empty, and we have measured its mass and say it is M1. Now we will pour the liquid up to the mark V, which we have recorded earlier, and then we will take the combined mass of the cylinder plus liquid. So mass of liquid, whose density we have to measure, plus cylinder is equal to M2. Then mass of liquid will be equal to M2 minus M1. The difference between the mass of cylinder plus liquid and to the mass of empty cylinder. So mass of the liquid in this cylinder will be equal to M2 minus M1. Now this is how we will measure the mass of a liquid. We can't measure directly like we have done in case of a solid. And once you get the mass of a liquid, then you can easily use the formula density is equal to mass upon volume. So this is equal to M2 minus M1 upon V. So this is what the measurement of density of a liquid. Since liquid, because of its nature, it is that state of matter which has the nature of flowing and it does not have a defined shape. So we have used the measuring cylinder for measuring its volume, and for measuring the mass, we will use this tricky method. Reason is very simple, because it cannot acquire a fixed shape. So we need a method where first we measure the mass of the empty cylinder, then we measure the mass of the cylinder plus liquid, and then the difference will be the mass of the liquid present inside the measuring cylinder. And then we use the formula density is equal to mass upon volume. So M2 minus M1 upon V. Now next is relative density. Now what is relative density? When relative means whenever we are comparing any quantity in terms of any other quantity. So here the relative density implies it is defined as the ratio of density of a substance to the density of water at 4 degrees Celsius. It means the density of water is measured when its temperature was 4 degrees Celsius. So here we are comparing the density of any substance with respect to the density of water. So that is called what? Relative density. So relative density is defined as the density of a substance any unknown substance to the density of water at 4 degrees Celsius. Because of anomalous behavior of water, the density of water used to change. So it is found that the maximum density of water is at 4 degrees Celsius. So the relative density is defined as the ratio of density of any substance, unknown substance, to the density of water at 4 degrees Celsius. Now we also know that density is equal to mass upon volume. So if we substitute here, then we will get relative density is equal to density of unknown substance upon density of water. It can be written as mass of substance upon volume of unknown substance upon mass of water upon volume of water. If suppose the volume of water is equal to the volume of that unknown substance, suppose Vs is equal to Vw, in this and this will get cancelled out, and we will have relative density is equal to mass of unknown substance to the mass of water of equal volume at 4 degree Celsius. So here the mass of water taken is the mass of a particular volume which is equal to the volume of that unknown substance, and again the temperature is 4 degree Celsius. Then also we can calculate the relative density. So RD, relative density, can be calculated if you know the density of any substance, your density of water, or mass of unknown substance, the mass of equal volume of water at 4 degree Celsius. So from here, if the relative density of any substance is given, we can find out its density, because density of any substance will be equal to relative density into density of water at 4 degree Celsius. If you cross multiply, if the relative density of any object is given, easily you can find out the density of a substance is equal to density of relative density multiplied by density of water at 4 degree Celsius. Now, what is the significance of knowing the relative density of any object? That we see in the topic flotation and sinking. That if you know the relative density of any object, then easily you can compute if you submerge that object in a water, whether that object will float or it will sink in the water. So the density of water, the relative density of water is normally 1. The relative density of water is, the density of water is normally 1 gram per cubic centimeter. It is 1 gram per cubic centimeter. So if you are knowing the relative density of any substance, you can easily find out that whether it will sink or it will float in water. So if the relative density of any substance is less than 1, if the relative density of any substance is less than 1, then it will float in water, and if the relative density of any substance is more than 1, then it will sink in water. So this is the significance of relative density. Now one more question is asked, what is the unit of relative density? So relative density is a unitless quantity. It is just a comparative number. You can see any quantity which is defined as the ratio of two similar quantities, they are unitless. So it is defined as the ratio of density to density. So it is the comparison or the ratio of two similar quantities. So the unit relative density is just a comparative number, which is a unitless quantity. Sometimes in examination this question is asked. So what is the unit of measuring relative density, or why relative density don't need to have any unit? So those quantities, whichever you have seen, they are the defined as the ratio of two similar quantities. They are always unitless. So here it is density of substance to the density of water. Next is relative density bottle. Now, relative density bottle, it is a device which is used to measure the density of any unknown liquid. The relative density bottle is designed in order to measure the density of any unknown liquid. So it is just a flask made up of glass, provided with a stopper at its top with a fine bore hole, in which water or the liquid whose density we have to measure is filled inside this bottle up to a particular marking. So how we will use this for measuring the density of any unknown liquid? Let us see. Suppose if you are provided with any relative density bottle. So first we will take a well dry empty relative density bottle and we will measure its mass. So mass of empty bottle will be equal to, say, m1 gram. Here it is, m1 gram. Now what you will do? You will pour the water inside this bottle up to this net, and then you will take the combined mass. You will measure the combined mass of this bottle along with the water filled inside this. So mass of bottle plus water is equal to, say, m2 gram. So therefore mass of water filled inside this bottle will be equal to m2 minus m1 gram, like we have done in the previous case. Now we will take another similar relative density bottle Why? Because it will take time to clean it and dry it. So similar bottle we will take of same mass M1, and now we will fill the relative density bottle with the unknown liquid up to the same mass, and we will take the mass. So mass of bottle plus unknown liquid is equal to say m3 grams. This implies mass of liquid will be equal to m3 minus m1. The difference of the combined mass of bottle plus liquid to the mass of empty bottle, m3 minus m1. Now you are having the mass of water filled inside this bottle, you are having the mass of unknown liquid of equal volume, because the same relative density bottle is filled by the unknown liquid and water up to the same level, so they will have same volume. And once you have their masses of equal volume, you can use the formula relative density is equal to mass of unknown liquid m3 minus m1 upon mass of water of equal volume m2 minus m1. So this is the relation which we will use for measuring the relative density of any unknown liquid by using a relative density bottle. So from this topic, from examination point of view, this derivation is asked. Describe the method of finding out the relative density of any unknown liquid by using a relative density bottle, as well as numerical is also asked. So in our next video, we will have some practice of the questions which are based on this method and the displacement method and the formula of measuring the density, that is mass upon volume. So we will continue with our next topic in our next video. So up till here, we just take a quick revision of physical quantities and measurements. Then we go through the definition of the density, the significance of density, the SI unit and CGS unit of density and their relations. Then we have to go with the method of finding out the density of an irregular solid. We have discussed two methods. One is displacement method and one is Eureka can or overflow jar method. Then we have discussed about the relative density. Then we have learned the density of how to measure the relative density of any unknown liquid by using a relative density bottle. So that's all for the today. Again, we will meet in our next video. Thank you.